Welcome back everyone. Our content is getting better and better. We have big things coming up, so subscribe now for future uploads. In this video, we decided to delete the traction control throttle valve on our E36. We are not concerned with ABS functionality or dash lights, so we will only be covering the mechanical side of this project. Mishimoto does make a silicone elbow for this. However, we decided to pie cut some aluminum tubing from Vibrant Performance. Now there are a lot of options as far as tooling goes. For this project, we will be using a bandsaw, a belt sander, and a TIG welder. Obviously a chop saw and a flap disc with a MIG welder will work just fine. Our vehicle has a strut tower brace. We are going to be removing this for easy accessibility to our throttle body. Next, we will remove the rubber elbow between the throttle body and the mass airflow sensor. We should have removed the engine air filter to give us better access to the idle air tube on the bottom of this elbow. However, it slipped our mind. So we did not release the clamp, but it still came out very easily. The hose was very brittle and it's cracking. So we just want you to be careful when removing this elbow, not to forget about the idle air hose on the very bottom. Our vehicle is missing many things prior to us starting this project. So there's some missing footage steps that need to be done in order to remove the throttle valve. Once you have the intake elbow off, you will have access to the traction control throttle valve. You will need to unclip the top electrical connector, then release the throttle cable, which is also on the top, and finally there are two bolts holding the valve in place. Remove those and it should come right out. Finally, there is an adapter bracket from the engine throttle body to the traction control valve. In order to remove this bracket, you will need to unbolt the 4 bolts attaching the throttle body to the engine. Once the throttle body is loose, you can remove the bracket, then reinstall the throttle body using the original hardware. Next, I used a little protractor to find the angle that I'm going to need to use. The angle actually is roughly about 100 degrees, so just 10 degrees past 90. Not that bad. Now we need to find the center line radius of our bend. So I found a good spot to hold my tape measure, and I found what the radius will be. It's 3 inch, a 3-inch bend on 3-inch tubing. Now I'm going to actually make the pie cuts. There's going to be 6 pies in this bend. The first and the last pie are going to have 0 degrees on one side, 9 degrees on the opposing side. So they will be a 9-degree transition. The 4 middle pies in the bend will both have 9 degrees on each side, making them 18-degree transitions. We opted to go with just a 90-degree bend to make it very simple and straightforward. Once everything's cut, I used a couple pieces of tape just to hold it together so that I can check my fitment. I didn't tackle with any of it. After deciding that fitment was perfect, I went ahead and welded this piece all together. Came out very nice for me. I did have to attach a bung on the very bottom so that we can put the idle air hose on. The idle air hose is a 3/4 inch inside diameter, so that was much larger than the bung that I put on the bottom of the intake elbow. I needed an adapter. I had one, So it's going from 3/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch. Then I just put a hose on from there to the intake elbow. Worked out great. Since my idle air hose was cracking where the clamp goes, I decided to use some electrical tape. Well, liquid electrical tape anyways. This worked great. It was just like a sealant. Helped me out a lot. Now the whole thing's just going back together, pretty basic. Once I have the adapter in there, then I just install the intake elbow, clamp everything down, and we're ready to rock and roll. Alright, so the whole thing's installed finally. Unfortunately, with going with a 90-degree angle instead of the 110-degree angle, my AFE airbox won't fit anymore. So now we're going to have to refab a new airbox. So that's what's going to be in the next video, guys. Stay tuned, like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more.